What's up, guys? Welcome back to Bulletproof Mindset, where we help you bulletproof your mind and body through health, fitness, and general chit chat. So today we talked about bulking, cutting, maintenance calories, calorie deficit, that fucking buzzword that you always hear. So what is it? Well, you'll find out in this episode, so we hope you guys enjoy.
So right now, are you maintaining, cutting or bulking yourself? What are you doing at the moment?
You don't fucking tell. Don't know, like, huge and
You're definitely cutting.
No, so what do you mean with nutrition, calories and stuff?
With your calories,
I'm actually just, I don't like the word winging it. I know I've got a set amount of meals. I know roughly what calories I'm, but I could be off. Maybe a couple of 500.
Just 2,000, 1,000, 2,000.
No, so this is the beauty. I eat the same meals on a regular basis, but things like I went and bought a wrap at the shop today. That's a very few and far between just now. Mm-hmm. So I know I'm consuming a bit of my maintenance calories to my weight. I'll weigh myself every now and then. The main focus for me just now, I'm actually focusing more on the training side and just try to keep my maintenance the same to see how my body responds. Because, as we said before, I wasn't really in a routine up until Croatia. So I'm still, 6? I think this is the 6th week back, and I've been fairly consistent with at least 3 full body sessions a week. Mm-hmm. Or maybe, 2 full bodies, and I've done a push, a pull, or some sort of split variation, if that makes sense. So calorie-wise, yeah, I would probably say I'm falling into we call it maintenance. Mm-hmm. And when we refer to maintenance here, for anyone that doesn't know, maintenance is calories that you can consume on any given day, and you won't gain weight and you won't lose weight. Now, do not get this mixed up with if you do this for one day and you do an over your maintenance the next day that you're instantly gaining weight, because it doesn't work like that. However, if you add up a week or 2 weeks or the month and divide it by a certain number, and you've consumed 2,500 calories, let's say, and you've not gained weight or lost weight that month, then that's a
2,500 is your maintenance?
Aye, 2,500 would be your maintenance. And this is where I'll ask you in a session, we'll go into what you're doing, but this is where everybody should have an indication of where their maintenance is roughly at. I think that's a good starting point when you're trying to tackle your nutrition side of your journey, not the workout. The workout is, as we said before, sometimes you don't necessarily need to tap into the nutrition to begin with, because it can be a bit overwhelming. But I would say it's a good starting basis to work out.
100%, because everybody's hormones are different, everybody's metabolism is slightly different, everybody's activity, exactly. Like for me, my maintenance is probably about 3,500, maybe even 4k, because I'm eating 4k now. I'm not getting fatter, and that's been about 4 or 5 weeks, and I'm genuinely not even putting on any body fat. I'm training about 3 times per week. I just move and my head goes 200 miles an hour all the time. So
I guess the classes won't help with that, because you're doing like spin, and because they'll be.
I'm only doing 3 spin classes a week at the moment, which I wouldn't say is a lot. That's 190 minutes. 180 minutes. No, it's 90 minutes. 90 minutes of high intensity cardio a week. I wouldn't say that's that much. That's not going to burn a high amount of calories.
So when I was doing classes, I done 2 a week, and it kind of leaned me out.
It does.
I think it's extra movement, isn't it?
It's high energy movement as well.
So what is your goals just now? Are you trying to cut weight, gain weight, add muscle?
As we spoke about in our podcast, I'm going away this weekend, so I'm not really giving a fuck too much.
Aye, where you off to?
I'll be honest. I'm going to Holland for a rave.
Party time.
Party time.
Is this the rave that's like hardstyle music? Or
yeah.
Is it?
Scattiness, mate.
Excited.
But I'm not excited. I wasn't. I've not getting anything ready, so the stress is high this week. Do you know what I mean? There's so much fucking going on, and I was like, I was talking to my girlfriend the other week. She's like, getting ready. I was like, nah. She's like, I couldn't handle it. I was like, I'll be alright. And then I woke up a day like that. Oh no!
How shit is that sometimes? Because sometimes nothing. It wouldn't even cross my mind that you should be stressed for these types of things. And then somebody, like you said, somebody that's close to you goes, "I can't believe you can do that." I'd be stressed in my box. And you're like, nah, I'm different. I'm not like that. And then you think about it, you're like, should I be stressed? And then you go, oh my god, now I'm stressed.
I'm fucked. I've got fucking none.
But so just cruising and maintenance. What's the plan when you come back?
So what's the plan when I come back? I'll probably write a 4-day split for myself.
Right.
I'll probably do an upper lower full body, and I'll probably do like on my other day, like power day, power mobility day. Because the other day I did sleds, but I done them low weight, and I was going as fast as possible. And
I
you know,
see
I
you
just
had like 15
I
kilo
love
on it.
you know, I was reading something about being powerful the other day. And I was like, fuck man, I love that because I love jumping. I get a lot of my clients who are into that, who don't mind the uncomfortability of jumping in a gym and learning jump in a gym. If I can get people doing that, I'll let me jump because your coordination increases so vastly when you can jump and land with your feet together.
Aye, I like that.
It's so like, it sounds so fucking obvious, but if you can do a powerful jump and land with your feet, your coordination just...
Is that so you can jump the highest at the rave as well?
Aye.
Everyone look at me.
I'll send you a video. I love jumping at raves. It's so because like when the tune's about to kick in, you jump as high as you can. You fist pump there. There is no better feeling than seeing you can jump so fucking high. Like it's a simple thing in life. Like I just love to jump.
Andy was talking about because he loved the raves back in the day as well. He says you could actually take his socks off and wring them with sweat because of how fucking
sweaty he was
going constantly. But no, explosive and jumping with, and we're actually going to do that with Andy because he's going snowboarding in January. So talk about coordination, performance. Some of the best things you can do is those explosive movements. I'm going to say the joke I said again because you never heard it. I hate repeating jokes, but I said, you had 15 kilos on that slide, didn't you? Pushing it heavy.
Oh, is that what you said? I thought you said heavy, and I just heard heavy, and I was like, no, it wasn't that heavy, it was on the harder.
Lies. I love the power focus days and that. But so today's episode, we wanted to actually touch on what is bulking, cutting, maintenance, what is all this? These are all fitness terms. And for the average person, I actually remember down when I was living in England, and I was talking about like, I was cutting for my show, and then I said it round the table of managers in one of our meetings, and they were all like, "What's cutting?" And I was like, "What do you mean you don't know what cutting is?" Like, I'm getting fucking shredded. What's shredded? Like, it's such a... I just assumed
taboo.
I thought it was a term everybody knew. But so let's talk about bulking first of all. So in fact, before we even touch on that, back to maintenance calories then. So understanding your maintenance calories, as we said, that's the starting point. So let's get on to why that's the starting point. For you to either add weight, which is bulking, or cut weight, which is cutting,
you need to know your maintenance.
You would need to know that maintenance number. So if we go back to the example of 2,500, for your body to lose weight, this is where the calorie deficit term comes from. You need to be in that calorie deficit to cut weight, and that would be either reducing that 2,500 number calories. So what's your strategy then with clients, or how do you work out your maintenance? Because I know there's a few ways to do it.
So how I work out my maintenance is simply just to get them to track, weigh themselves. Did you lose? Did you gain? Right, your maintenance is that.
How long do you do it for?
I would just do it for the first month. You can do it over 2 weeks, I would say. But I would just get them to do it for the first month because I like to get them into the stylish, like, understanding tracking as well. So there's not just one goal. It's one of the goals is learn how to track. One of the goals is learn the maintenance. And obviously this is the main problem. If there's anybody out there who's going to go to a personal trainer, if they ask you to track, fucking track or don't go with them.
Is that how brutal you are?
No, I'm not actually that brutal with my clients, but I think it, do you know what I mean? If you're not going to track and you're going to come with me, what's the point? Because I explain to everybody, look, I get you to track, and if that's not for you, then you're probably not going to achieve the goals with me as well as you could.
I became too much of a softie with this because it's maybe something I need to be more strict with, but I used to, when I was first taking on my first couple of clients, some of the kind of mentorship that I went through was all about, before you take on a client, or this is basically how the guy communicates. So before I take on a client, I need to know where my client's maintenance calories are. So before we even kick a ball, I'm saying to them, okay, we're going to start in 2 weeks' time, and I need you to track because I need to understand where your maintenance is. I'll wait at the start and I'll wait at the end, so I've got a good indication of that. And I remember taking that approach. And then I was like, obviously, needed to make money. I was like, fuck waiting 2 weeks before that, because I've now obviously learned that tracking for most people is probably the hardest thing, I would say, when it comes to the health and fitness kick. Some people are fucking great at it.
Some people love it.
Others, it's not for them. And that's why, so if you're listening to this and you haven't seen the previous episode, we done an episode on ways that you can create this calorie deficit, create this cut element without tracking your calories.
So I think it's always trying to get over to people, look, I'm not getting you to track to give you a row for you're eating this or that. I need to see what you're eating and then to understand for your maintenance. And explaining that to some people is... I'm not saying it's difficult, but it's time consuming.
It's hard.
It's actually a lot more time consuming than you think. So, like, and I always say to people, look, I get people to track And then they're like, yeah, and then they don't track. I'm like, look, so I had somebody in 2 months in it, they're like, when am I going to start losing weight? I'm like, you've no tracked. But I'm like it's soft, because if you're really hard with people, they probably take that worse. You know what I mean?
And the reason I'm a wee bit softer with it is because I don't want to push them away to health and fitness now, because I know the power of them just working out.
100%. I'm the same.
But I take a similar approach with yourself with the tracking. So for anyone listening, you never hit exact calories every day.
No.
Sometimes you have 171 grams of protein, sometimes 171 grams of chicken, sometimes you have 160. So on a daily basis, for maintenance, that I love what James said about tracking for a month, just to get an understanding, because you're going to have days where you're dialed in and then shit hits the fan. There's a shit day at work or fucking shitty arguments with friends, family, whatever it is, and you go, fuck tracking today, and you just eat what you eat. So if you're not dialed in every single day, there's still ways around it. So that I usually do the 2 week period, but actually like the month approach, because you can add up, say you track 17 days of that month and out of the 31 days, say, and you would add all those calories up and then divide it by the 31, and that would give you your number. Now, if you track 17 days, you add the 17 days of calories up, divided by 17, and whatever that number gives, we can make a very strong bet that that's your maintenance calories. And we can say, right, that is now your calorie goal moving forward. Now, if you're sticking to that calorie goal and you see weight going down on the scales, we've not got the right maintenance number. That is still a calorie deficit, so it needs to be
that's another thing to explain to people. Like, if you get that number and you start eating it and you gain weight, then it wasn't the right maintenance, because it's not always 100% accurate. And that's hard for some people to understand as well. Look, I thought you told me that this way worked and it doesn't. No, it's no 100% accurate, because your fucking body's fucking it does shit that you just don't understand sometimes.
And well, the thing is, well, like, it's very rare that I get a client that goes, because I do 14 days, and it's very rare I get 14 out of 14 days tracked. There's only I could probably count in one hand of the amount of clients who have done that. And when I divide that number by 14, I'm getting like 2,100, 2,200. So that's been their maintenance to then hold that for a week to see how they react, and then we can make a decision from there. So what's the thought process with you? So how do you know whether to put somebody? Most people come to you to cut weight. What's your strategy when you get that maintenance number?
What's my strategy once I get that maintenance number? Well, I would, depending on how overweight they are, I would either, if they're really overweight, 1,000 calories, you can cut it.
1,000?
1,000. And if they are, at the 25%, you're looking at 500. And I'm explaining to them how you're going to lose £1 a week if you hit that every day. If you don't hit that every day, you're a day back. Okay. But that's okay, as long as you're okay with that. Do you know what I mean? As long as you understand that. What I do say, like most of my clients, I say, look, it's going to be 4 to 8 weeks of being in a deficit, and then we're going to stop. So I say, is this the right time for you to do this? Yes. And they go, right, I'm not getting anything on, let's do it. If they understand that they've got things in between, then I'm going to say you're not going to lose much weight. But when you're in a calorie deficit, you're not going to feel as good, you're not going to feel as energised. If you are a larger individual, you'll feel more energised than the person who has less body fat, because that fat is used as energy, and that's how they lose fat so quickly at the start, and then that's how it slows down as you go, even if they're eating the same calories.
So I take a different approach. Actually, hearing you talk about that, there's some things like I'm like, I've never really thought about that. But my approach usually, for most people, I've had a lot of people come to me, and when we work out their maintenance is 1,300, 1,200, 1,000. I've actually had a girl that I got was 1,000 calories. I've been working with her since January, February time. So my process,
her maintenance was 1,000 calories.
Yeah. I'm not even kidding, mate. She's a small girl. So I'm telling you, through the tracking process, through the tracking of 10 days.
I think there's something fishy going on there.
But she wasn't overweight. She was skinny though as well. She was like stick thin.
Right.
So this is the thing as well. I think everyone thinks that someone coming to a personal trainer is always to lose weight. Well, it's not necessarily the case. Now, could you make an argument that I can guarantee? Like,
I would make the argument in that I wouldn't say that her maintenance was. That's a difficult one. I would reverse diet before I even got the maintenance before that point.
Well, this is what I mean. So you can't reverse diet if you don't know what your maintenance is.
But you can just put them on 1,200, 1,400, 1,600. I
think I may be missing the point. So I'm not put her on 1,000 maintenance. We've worked out. So she came to me and then was like, right, okay, we're gonna look where you are. Let's see what types of food. Because she's like, I'm eating this and I'm eating that. I think I'm getting my protein. Blah blah blah. And I'm like, right. There's no number. Just eat how you normally eat. I'm not interested in no good foods, bad foods. I'm just interested in what's in your diet just now. For the next 2 weeks, track that. Alongside that, we're going to start to strength train. We're going to send a loud signal to your body that says we want to build. So heavy, or depending on the mechanics of the person, getting them doing a strength phase, I call it. Now, strength phase looks different from person to person. So once we got to the end of that 2 week cycle, dividing that number, it came out about the 1100 mark. Right. So it was about that mark. So I'm like, right, okay, number one, is this accurately tracked? To what she said, yes. Okay, no reason to say no. And I'm like, right, cool. So then I explained to her that if we cut from where we are just now to lean you out because she wants to be toned, all these words, then you have nowhere to go. You can't cut from that. You can't have a bowl of soup and a bit of bread. Like that kind of eats up your calories. So we're going to slowly increase your calories and see how your body reacts. 1300, 1500, 1700, and slowly get her up to, which I think the other week there, 2100 is where we're going to push her to. And basically the signal I'm looking for is when she comes back, she said, this is too much food, I've really tried, I can't do this. Cool, let's now go back down, because in that process, as I said, this isn't just an 8 week turnaround. This is since January, middle of January, that I've taken this girl on for. So we've been building muscle through that time, building strength, and now we're in a position where we can cut her calories at 1700, and she'll now be in a calorie deficit because her body is used.
Okay, I do the exact same thing. I just, like, when you said maintenance at 1000, I wouldn't even call it that. If you get me? If you get what I'm trying to say. If you get what I'm trying to say. So you've reversed dieted her up to actual maintenance.
But it's her maintenance. So
I know, I get you. I do understand what you're saying. I just don't like calling it that, the maintenance. I know what you mean.
It is what it is, isn't it?
No, I get you.
So and this was a big eye opener for me, because she was like one of the first clients I ever taken. Next person. I was like, how much are you eating? That's how a lot of my clients are. 1200.
What the fuck?
So anyone listening, when you go to work out that maintenance number, if you're going to take this on your own and you're trying to go, right, I want to tone up, I want to lean out, I want to lose weight, and that number comes out for you, I would say if that number comes out you below 1500 and you are looking to lose weight, it's too low. And the reason I say it's too low is because if you cut weight, so you say you're taking more an aggressive approach than what I would do with most people. I normally cut 200. I'd be a wee bit more reserve on the way down. There's no right, and this is the beauty of this, there's no right or wrong, because I absolutely agree and can get on board with every point that you said with that. I'll just get a different approach, and I would apply some of that approach to other clients. But say you're on 1500 and you cut 200 calories, so you then drop down to 1300 because you went, Dale and James said that I'm in my maintenance number is 15 and I'm going to cut weight at 1200 or 1300. So you cut that, you see the scale go down, brilliant. So that lasts 3, 4, 5, depending on the person, 6 weeks, maybe a wee bit longer, and then the scale then halts. The reason that halts is because your body is then adapted to those calories that you've been consuming. So guess what? That's your new maintenance weight, because your body, technically speaking, is now adapted to that. This is if you're strength training and stuff like that, it's a wee bit different. And if you're not doing cardio, there's so much that's complex to this. But then you're at 1300. The decision that you have to make then is, you need to cut again if you're going on that health kit. So the moral of the story here is 1500 calories isn't a weight to cut from. 1500 calories should be your cutting weight.
I think the one thing that I would say about this 1000 maintenance, if they were genuinely 1000 maintenance, they would be anorexic.
No, really, I don't think so.
I think that this person and so many people don't count juice, don't count oil.
I've counted the wine.
Don't count food.
Prosecco. Like, it was all in there, mate. I'm telling you, 100%.
I don't.
No, this is where
it doesn't sound biologically correct.
No, but this is where I think. Now we need to get into this episode because we've not really done it that much. But this is where crash diets, cardio classes have all fucked up somebody's 100%. Now, what has she done before this? She attended all the classes. When did she want to lose weight? For the 18 cycles that she tried it over the past 4 or 5 years. She ran and done cross trainer for an hour. She'd done aerobic classes. What did she else do? She cut her food. So all this constant battering, our metabolism then responding, going, right, we need to be most efficient as we possibly can. So her maintenance calories then, because it's then that you've put us in this state so much that we have to be efficient as we can with as little calories as we can. And I think there's a lot of people that fall into that category. Now, the reason me bringing up that point It's because somebody might hear this go, all right,
My maintenance is 1,000. I'm going to cut 500.
Aye.
And you're only eating 500 calories.
What you need to see, the foresight that you need to see is wherever you end up your cut, that then is most likely your maintenance calories. And we talked about reverse dieting, and that's the next term that we come on to. So when you finish your cut, the smart strategy to hold the shape that you're in would be to slowly increase your calories.
Yep.
While sending a good strength signal.
Yep.
A good muscle building signal. And that's what James was talking to there. So have you reverse dieted with many clients?
I'd reverse diet with basically everyone because they all come with the same problem. I'm eating this and I'm like, how are you feeling alright? How are you actually alright? I eat four times the amount you do, and you're heavier than me. Like, this is not right. I said the words to a couple of people. I'm like, you are heavier than me, and I eat roughly 4 times as much you do. I'm like, you're doing something severely wrong. And you're making some just habitual mistakes.
Aye, and I know you're not saying that. So James isn't saying that to show off. Oh, look how much it is. Something must be wrong there. Something must be wrong in the makeup of what the fuck's going on. Like, what's the difference? Okay, strength training. The more muscle you have, the more your body's going to want food. The more muscle you have on you, the more food you can metabolize, the more food you can also have. And why would you want to be adapted to 1,000 calories when that is a starter or a dessert in most places?
There's no much.
You want your maintenance calories to be at your maintenance calories in the shape that you want. You can have them both at a high calorie state where you can enjoy food and you don't have that bank balance being eaten up too much. That's the way I like to compare it.
I like to also look at it as like your hormones need fed, and you at 1,500, even for girls, your hormones aren't getting fed that much. Even for a small woman, 1,500 is not a lot.
But so I only know this more because obviously Gillian's my wife and we live together, and I've tried to push her calories as north as like 1,800, 1,900. When she gets that, she's like, I can't, it's too much food. So using shakes and that, but she's been dialed in and she can live on the 1,400, 1,500 and she's healthy, her skin's good, her hair's good, and she's got energy. Some people will just react differently. And I suspect that older, as she starts to age, that will slow down. And I think there'll be, we all do, as we get older, we need to refine tune what does that look like. So reverse dieting, I like what you said. I think most people fucking need it. Yeah. But that was my point. Like, no, I
just got you a little bit wrong. I know it is maintenance, but when you say maintenance, because the whole...
Now, what are they missing out through maintenance? They missed out the previous 2 months. They were out every weekend and they were having a
That's what I was about to say. What did they do for that last month? They probably binged like a maniac.
But also, they binged on that one day. The second day they don't drink anything. They maybe go to McDonald's, and then the Monday they feel bad, so they were like, "Oh, I'm not going to eat anything." I've got a client exactly said that. He said that to me, and he was like, "Nah, you know what? Monday I only had a bowl of cereal, and that's all I ate." And that actually does more damage to your metabolism than fucking the bad food, the quote unquote bad food McDonald's and drinking done for you. If you have those weekends, you had it. Move on, go back to your maintenance calories the next day. Because you overconsumed. There's things that maybe not necessarily. I wouldn't say there's only some times where I would use it as a strategy to consume less on the day that you know. So, for example,
like banking calories.
So I know, like, I'm going to a birthday party later on. All-inclusive buffet, and I know there's cake and things like that. Do I need my normal 4 eggs and 4 bits of bacon in the morning? Probably not, so I'll cut it down to 2 and 2. Or
for me personally, I would just have the same food, but I understand for most people who are on that journey of trying to lose weight, they probably should bank. I teach everybody to bank. Look, you go on the night out for the previous 5 days, have 1,500 to 200 less calories, because that's not that much.
That or get a wee bit extra steps in. Get your movement in the day.
Exactly.
Plan your workout on that day. Or the day after, whatever it is.
Do a couple extra steps before you go, or eat a little, like 150 to 200, no more than that. Otherwise you're just sacrificing performance, hormone levels, etc.
So we spoke about maintenance calories, reverse dieting. So when it comes to, as we said, we touched on cutting there, and so that's essentially cutting. When you're cutting weight, you're trying to lean out, you're trying to lose weight. To make that decision, if you're getting your maintenance calories and you can see that you can drop 500 calories off that, and the goal here is, can you live on those calories for the rest of your life? And if the answer is no, then unfortunately you need to go the other way first, and it's going to be a longer process.
So we spoke about reverse dieting. What I've worked out is what I like to do with people is find their maintenance, as we spoke about, is really low. I like to reverse diet them 200 per week. I like to get them to weigh themselves every week, right? Once they get to a stage where it goes up 1 week, I go, right, let's stick to the calories. So say we get to 2,200 and I say stick to them for a good few weeks.
Let your body adapt.
Let your body adapt. Once you see no change, that is your definite maintenance.
Aye.
So if anybody listening, that's exactly what you should do. Then you cut. So if you understand you're at exact maintenance, 500 calories per day for 7 days is 3,500 calories. 3,500 calories in a caloric deficit is 1 pound of body fat lost. But that means you need to eat 3,500 over the full 7 days.
Aye.
So if you miss a day, then you're a day behind. But that's all right because we're fucking human beings.
Aye. And that's the thing as well. So even though studies will point to like a pound, some people will lose 2, some people lose 1. Over the course of time, it'll look like a stock chart. You'll go down, you might plateau. Sometimes you even might go up just because stress levels are high that day. You had a shitty night's sleep.
Stress is a big...
more water. You didn't take a piss before you stepped in the scales. You maybe needed a wee jobby. You needed a
Yep. That's how it goes.
I know all these things, but people go, oh my God, I'm 2 pounds heavier. This diet's not working for me.
Put it this way, for people who don't eat in a certain schedule, you will need shits at completely different times.
It's going to be random.
I wake up and I do a shit at the same time every day because I eat breakfast, lunch, dinner and brunch at the same time every single day. But if you're just eating willy-nilly, you're going to need shits and pisses way here, there and everywhere.
Random that. So how does that happen? But aye. So the point on cutting then, I think that's good information. So what about bulking then? Have you had any clients where you've had to build?
No yet. I'll be honest.
So I've got a few.
Myself as a bit.
So talk about yourself then. Where have you came from? So when you'd done your maintenance before, what did you work out you were at?
See, to be honest, last year I started eating 2,400. Then I went up to 2,600. Then I went up to 2,800. By the time I knew it, I was at 4,000. And I just kind of stuck there for a bit because it was a lot of food. It was a lot of money, more than anything. I was spending a lot of money on good food, and I was feeling fucking great. But it's just like I can't really afford to eat too much more than this, and I actually couldn't physically put it in me.
Digest that, aye.
Do you know what I mean?
This is the stage where bulking. Why would anybody want to bulk? First of all, this is where you can add some lean muscle and shape to your body. This is the phase that really everybody should really go through with bulking. Like you said there. The goal is usually to increase calories, isn't it? But you can get to a stage where you can't eat that much food and you feel at a loss because like you don't want to be forcing food down. This is where you see the bodybuilders, like they take it to an extreme level of like fucking fair play, mate. I don't know how you're getting that much food.
Yeah,
in.
it's
and
so hard.
You growing up, it was like, oh, how much calories you had today? Oh, I've had fucking 4,500 calories. Oh, you're a beast. Oh,
you're a fucking animal.
But like for the average person, there's one thing that you can do that James, unfortunately, I guess he can't. You get to a stage where you can't consume that much calories. Or you're at a stage where you're having 2,700, 2,800 and you're like, this is way too much food. I can't eat anymore. And say you've tried the shakes, you've tried all those other things to get more calories in a meal, if that makes sense. You can then take the decision not to go to the gym less, but move less. So you're doing 3 spin classes, which is extra activity, but you can create an extra 200 calorie surplus.
At the moment, I'm doing less calories less classes than that I have been in the previous months.
You can see a wee bit.
I'm seeing myself
chunk out.
Aye. I'm seeing a wee bit of blodge in the belly. You know what I mean? No, there's not much, but I think I was going to say something about bulking there. If you're over 20% body fat for a guy, if you're over 25% body fat as a woman, you don't need bulk.
No, I don't, because your calories, see your maintenance calories, you still build lean muscle.
Right, you have maintenance, and then the extra energy that you would need from food, you would get from your extra body fat.
Aye, and I think this speaks to people that are already working out, they're already got a routine, they're already strength training. It's like, I've got a mate just now, he's lean as anything, and he's fucking shredded to the bone, and he's like, I just can't gain any weight, and I'm like,
eat more.
He's like, I have a Chinese every night, or he's like, no, I have a Chinese every week, and I'm like, you have a Chinese, but then you don't eat the next day, and then you're having like fruits and salads.
And Chinese is honestly no much calories.
I mean, it can be, but I think
generally it's no as much as people think.
Aye, but it also doesn't mean have them all the time.
That was not my point in that.
That's what I'm trying to say.
That was not my point in that. But
James says I can have a Chinese.
The problem that comes with having Chinese is having more. It's high in monosodium glutamate, which is addicting.
Aye.
So you want more salt, you want more sugar. You know what I mean? There's so many people go, I want juice for my Chinese.
I don't get that.
I don't get it.
No,
I don't understand it either. But that's because it's tasty,
Aye.
super tasty. So once you eat that kind of food, you want it to be tasty.
Aye.
So it might not be too much calories, but you'll eat more calories after it.
I know it's the psychological part of the gateways is opened.
It is to more.
fucking eat. And this is one other point on the bulking before we close this episode is bulking doesn't mean just eat what you want. You still, like, people always come to me and say, nah, I can't gain any weight, and I'm like, are you tracking your food? No, but I'm eating on nurse. It's like, well, I can tell you right now, like 7 years of trying to like really focus on my nutrition. I've been working out longer than that, but 7 years I can hand on heart say I'm 29, fuck's sake, 9 years since my 20s I've really tried to push the nutrition, and I've tracked it, and I can tell you I'm eating maybe 3,500 just now, but I could be off. I will be off. In fact, I know for a fact I'll be
100%.
off, and that's with me with that experience. And most of you guys won't have this experience. If you're trying to gain weight and add muscle, find out your maintenance and track where you are at, and then increase it by 500, and you will see the scales go up. It can be just as hard gaining weight than it is losing weight. 100%. You might go, oh no, what a shit problem I have, but it is just as
we were
fucking
speaking
hard.
about that earlier. So he was like, Dale was like, because I'm like, I'm eating so much at the moment. He's like, is that your stress? I'm like, no, when I'm stressed, I don't eat.
Aye.
So there's people who out there, see when they're stressed, they don't eat. That's people who lose weight. People are like, oh, that's great. No, because they lose everything they've gained.
Aye.
And then they find it hard to gain. And then you get people who, when they're stressed, they eat.
Aye.
And it's just the opposite end of the spectrum. You don't want to be any of them.
It's
You
weird,
don't want to be any of them. You don't want to be stressed is the main problem. You don't want to be stressed. That's another thing. If you're in a calorie deficit and if you're cutting and you're stressed, then it's not the right time to cut. That's one thing, more thing I'll say about cutting. If you're extremely stressed and your life is all over the place, don't cut.
And what will kibosh this whole fucking thing is if you're not sleeping. If you don't have good quality sleep, you will not lose weight. As you said, that's all to do with your stress factors, and stress is a sensitive hormone in your body that will hold weight.
Hold weight, 100%.
It does. Your system from kicking in its insulin response and reducing that fat contents in your body, and it just won't.
I had a client, and I was like, he didn't lose weight for a bit, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on, and I just said to him, because I heard something about sleep, and I was like, here, what time you got your bed at?
It's not even a question you think to ask something.
And he's like, about 1 o'clock. I'm like, mate, you start at fucking 6 in the morning. No, you got up at 6 in the morning, you say. I'm like, that's 5 hours sleep. I'm like that. I was like, there's your problem. I was like, that's why you're no training as well. That's why you're no losing his weight. That's why you're no enjoying your food. Like, that's why everything is just because you are no sleeping as much. I said, just go to bed earlier.
Aye. I think we do an episode on sleep, because even your cravings the next day of having shit, like, I can feel it. What was it? I can't remember. It was a time last week, and I had like 4 hours sleep or something, because I kept waking up, my shoulder was killing me, and then I came in, I was like, fucking just craving.
No, again, right? Again.
That.
So, see the day I had a good sleep last night, and I'm eating tons of chocolate. See if I had a shit sleep, I don't eat the same. I don't want breakfast. I don't want my brunch. It's so fucking strange how it's so fucking strange. It's my brunch. It's my brunch.
He pump his arsehole.
But that is where. So if anybody's listening and they're like me and they don't eat when they're stressed, sleep will have that same profound effect. So if Dale doesn't sleep very well, he'll eat more. And if I don't sleep, I won't want to eat. And it's so fucking strange.
Aye. So there you have it. Hopefully we have given you more information on whether you should bulk, whether you should cut, what the fuck is it, and if there's anything you take away that you haven't maybe thought about in this episode, it's definitely maintenance. Definitely something, if you're on that health and fitness kick, you maybe even be working with a coach just now, learn to understand that.
And take your time to learn it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't need to go into a cut or a bulk. No. As quickly as people do.
I done a cut and a bulk with a coach, and I didn't understand any of this. I just let him take the free rein, and what did that do? I didn't understand anything, and then a couple of years down the line I had to fucking work it out to then take
anyway,
myself doing it.
So you have to do it anyway.
I just pissed through that money. Yeah, okay, I get shredded and then I added lean muscle, but I didn't get to where I wanted to get to. But it's something everybody certainly should do to bulletproof your mindset and body. Okay, so thanks as always for listening, guys. You know where to find us on Instagram.
Bulletproof Mindset UK. Hey, got it right that time. And if you want to find me, it's Raw Gym Fit, RAW JIMFIT. Try to cut me off there.
Sorry. You might need to spell mine, but I'm not going to, because I'm dyslexia. at Coach Crosser on Instagram. Honestly, I panicked, even though we've got the cameras on. I'm like, CROO. No, it's no two O's. No, but thanks for tuning in, guys. We will see you next time.
Have a nice one.